Hey, what is up guys? David here from Phone Buff, and I've been using the HTC One as my main phone for a while now, so I wanted to share with you guys some of the cool little tips and tricks that you may not have known about that I've learned along the way. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into my top 15 tips and tricks on the HTC One. Alright, so my first tip is to tap the notification bar to scroll to the top of whatever HTC app you're looking at. So for example, it works in the settings, it works in your phone app to scroll through your contacts, and maybe most importantly, it works in Blink Feed where the list can actually get really long. Tip number 2 has to do with scrolling as well, but this time it's scrolling with 2 fingers to help you find what you're looking for. So for example, in the messaging app, it lets you scroll by the date because that's how text threads are ordered, whereas in your contacts, it lets you scroll by the letter to help make finding the contacts you're looking for a whole lot easier. Number 3 is using the volume keys to control certain apps. If your version of the One came with the HTC flashlight, you can use the volume rocker to change the light intensity. And on the remote app, you can use the volume rockers to control, unsurprisingly enough, your TV's volume. While you can use the volume rocker for apps like the ones I just mentioned, unfortunately, you can't use them to capture photos in the camera app. You can, however, with tip number 4, capture an image by pressing anywhere on the screen instead of trying to find the shutter button by going into the camera settings and then shutter options, and then finally checking the touch to capture mode. But if that isn't enough, trick number 5 is the fact that you can use your Bluetooth headset to capture photos by pressing on the call button while connected. Of course, if you don't like the touch to capture option and you don't carry a Bluetooth headset around with you all the time, you can always use that wide-angled front-facing camera. And with tip number 6, you can switch back and forth to it pretty easily by simply swiping your finger across the screen in either direction. Since we're talking about the camera, tip number 7 is to use continuous shooting. Now, you probably already knew that the HTC One had this feature where you press and hold on the shutter button to take a series of pictures. But you might not have known about tip number 8, which is unlocking the continuous shooting limit so you can take up to 99 pictures at a time to help ensure you capture those Kodak moments. But I've got to warn you, taking that many pictures all the time will drain your battery pretty good. So tip number 9 is to use the power saver mode when you're not really using your phone heavily. I actually use this all day on the days when I know I won't have access to a charger until late at night. Power saver lowers your CPU frequency, it reduces your screen's brightness, turns off vibration, and puts your data connection to sleep when the screen is off, which really does help conserve your battery life. Tip number 10 is hiding apps. You can do this by swiping down in the app drawer and hitting the settings button and then the hide apps button. Checking off the apps that you don't need or use frequently leaves you with only the ones that you do, which makes things a lot easier to find on a day-to-day basis. Number 11 is similar to tip number 10 in the sense that it helps make your phone more efficient by hiding and reordering things a little bit. In the phone app, simply press the menu button and then edit tabs where you'll be able to uncheck the tabs that you don't want to see and reorder the ones that you do. You can do the same thing in the clock app, but note that you can only hide certain tabs like the stopwatch and timer in this example. Tip number 12 is something that most of you probably already know, which is how to take screenshots, but just in case you don't, I want to go over it really quick. So there's actually 2 ways to do it on the HTC One. The fastest way is holding the power button while simultaneously pressing the home button. However, in my experience, it isn't the most accurate way, which to me is holding the power button and the volume down key at the same time. It takes a few extra seconds to capture, but for me it works a lot better. Okay, we're almost there. Tip number 13 is customizing your LED notifications. Go into the settings and then display and tap on notification flash. From here, you'll be able to pick and choose which notifications you want your LED light to flash for. Tip number 14 is one that I really like, and that's enabling the magnifier glass during text selection. To do this, go into the phone's main settings and then accessibility. From here, find the show magnifier option and check it. This will enable a little magnification window when you're selecting text, which for me makes it a lot easier to be precise when copying and pasting. Now, before I go over this last trick, I want to tip you off to something, and that's that there's more tips and tricks to be found in the article on phonebuff.com, which can be found in the link right below that like button of this video. Alright, so the final tip for this video, assuming that you're using the stock HTC keyboard, is calibrating it to improve its accuracy. The way you do this is go into the settings once again, this time tap on language and keyboard, choose HTC Sense input, tap on advanced and hit that calibration tool option. The phone will ask you to type a sentence like you normally would, and it maps where your fingers naturally land to help make your input a little bit more accurate. Okay, that's pretty much it for me in this video. If you found it helpful or if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the Phone Buff channel if you haven't already for more mobile technology videos just like this. Thank you for watching.